Welcome to the R.E.A.L podcast, where hosts Shane Kilby and Dwayne Murphy dive deep into the world of real estate agent life. From overcoming hurdles to celebrating success, join us as we explore the journeys of industry veterans and rookies alike. Get ready for bi-weekly episodes packed with advice, feedback, and mentorship from the best in the business.
Producer.
This coming from the guy, Eric, I swear, he can never hear when he comes on here. If mic's messed up, his lighting's messed up, his computer is not plugged up. It's just always, I missed out by not being on here earlier because it's always a shit show. It's comic relief watching
You
Dwayne.
took away my 30 minutes of trial and error today to all of a sudden just throw the guest on the screen in front of me. Like, oh, hey, here we go.
Well,
so man, look, I mean, he looks good. He's got the backdrop, right? Like it looks, but come on.
So it's, this was, so we shoot these every Wednesday morning, and we do jump on about 30 minutes or so ahead and just work out any technical difficulties because, when you're doing a virtual podcast, it's a few more technical, aspects to it. Yep. But the flexibility of it allows you to tap into a huge network of guests and it not being so, cost prohibitive to do so. And so this kind of threw us off because, I tried to book you last week, double book you last week and this week, and then trying to make it work your schedule too. So, no, that's fine. Actually, Dwayne was supposed to have an AM guest as well, and he dropped the ball on that because he's ass grabbing, putting sheetrock up or damn insulating some shed or something.
That's for written proof of that conversation. And
he's changing out lighting fixtures in his bare feet.
Yes. Yeah. What he fails to remember.
That was not a wise move.
No.
That was not a wise move.
Oh, did you get any glass in your feet?
I escaped that pretty good though. One gash on the foot, a couple of glass shards.
Were you in those damn Nike slides or whatever?
No, I wasn't in anything. I was legit barefoot.
Man, you're OSHA's worst nightmare, or greatest meal ticket, one or the other,
or both,
All right, so we're going to get started today. So we are here on the R.E.A.L podcast, Real Estate Agent Life podcast. We are shooting with a good friend in the business. Our guest today, Mr. Lowry. Welcome, brother. How are you?
Dude, I'm great. Thanks. It's great to see both you guys. I'm thrilled to be here. Don't get to see you guys often enough or talk often enough. And so it's a real pleasure. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, likewise. And, we had Dwayne had a little bit of technical difficulties. It wasn't his fault, never is, but we got him here. That's all that matters. All that matters. So for our guests that will be watching this and downloading this in due time, so give us a little bit of backstory about R.E.A.L Lowry. Like when did you get started in the business? Where are you from? What market you serve?
Sure, absolutely. Started in real estate in 1998. June of 98. So 26 years ago, give or take. Before that, I was in the supermarket business in a variety of operational roles. Retail, I hated it. Had a chance to escape that world. I'd always wanted to do real estate. I was actually telling someone just a week or so ago, I actually wanted to do real estate from the moment I got out of high school. While I was in high school, I managed a convenience store. I mean, literally, they gave me the keys to a store when I was 17 years old and let me manage it. Can you imagine? But anyway, I digress. But I'm working in this store. I've just graduated high school. I wanted to do real estate. I had an uncle that was a real estate agent, a real successful one. And, I was just inspired by what he was doing. And I wanted to do that. And a teacher that I respected came into that store. He was a frequent customer. He came in to buy cigarettes. And literally, he says, as he's buying his cigarettes, so what are you going to do now that I've graduated? I said, I'm going to be a real estate agent. And he said to me, you can't do that. You're too young. No one would ever buy a house from you. And I believed him. And so
Really?
for the next 18 years, I spent in retail, supermarkets, all kinds of jobs. They were fine. Like I was making good money and rose up pretty high, moved around the country a couple of times, but I always wanted to do real estate. And so I had this opportunity to escape that world in June of 98. And I did. I ran like a bat out of hell. And I just resolved I was never going back. And I just worked my ass off for the next 26 years. I feel like I'm still working my ass off 26 years later.
You mean it's not a cakewalk? You mean it's not like just, the realtor commercials in the Super Bowl?
Is not, interestingly enough, and you know that. But part of it is I was also thinking about this recently. It's self-imposed because I'm always trying to do better, be better, do more, build a bigger team, all those things. And if you have that mindset, like it doesn't get easy anywhere along the way, because getting better and going to the next level and really trying to excel isn't easy. It'd be if I could make it easy starting today. Just be happy. I could go back to selling homes, sell a couple, 3 homes a month, and I'd be fine. Price point would be all right. Like
It's not
I'm not,
challenging enough.
no,
Yeah,
I'm not
you
like
had
that.
said it's
You guys.
you had said it's a mindset, and another word I probably would use instead of mindset would maybe be an affliction. I mean, you get that entrepreneur
Yep.
bug, right? And my gosh, right? And it's always that drive to, build it bigger, impact
That's
more
right.
people, and just do more. And that's an affliction.
It's
as
kind
much
of
as
like,
it
but
is.
it's kind of like golf, right? So you can be magnificent at golf and then screw it all up on one hole,
Yeah, I don't know
right?
anything
And then
about. I'm terrible at golf.
it's what I'm saying, but and I've played in the past. Of course, it seems like the more real estate success you have, the less golf you play.
That's right.
You kind of think like if you're successful, you should have more time to play golf, but I guess it really doesn't work that way in our business. But it's like when you are playing golf, it's like you're just crushing it, right? And you're teeing off long drive, and then you 3-putt. It's like back in the gutter again. So it's like this business, man. It's just all sometimes you just everything you touch turns to gold. It's like bam, good, 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 and then train wreck that goes
Right.
off the rails. And a lot of times it's the variables you don't have any control over.
Right. No, for sure. Like there are always those outside influences. But what I like about real estate, number one, I always say this to new people coming on our team or whatever, it's the best business because the only way to make a lot of money in it is to help a lot of people. They're like completely attached at the hip or whatever you're going to say. You can't make a lot of money in this business if you're not helping people, at least in the residential real estate side that we work in. You got to help people. And so that's really good. But it's also for me, like it's a self-improvement business. Like I'm obsessed with that part of it. And, I just keep working to make myself better. I'm reading more books than I ever have and just pushing myself harder. Thus, it's not getting easier, but I don't want it to be easy.
Yeah, you're you nailed it. Go ahead, Dwayne.
I was gonna say you had stated before we hit the button to start recording, you were talking about the impact of the market and or the lack of the impact on the market, right? The not allowing it should allow you to re-say it, but right, not allowing the market to dictate your success, and not succumbing to it, right?
Yeah, there's way more than enough business for any of us, no matter what market we work in. And the three of us are obviously in quite different markets geographically, and I don't whatever. But there's way more enough business for all of us to hit our goals if we just do the work and we hone our skills and we work on ourselves and grow and get better. And like you wake up every day in this business largely unemployed, right? You've got to go find somebody to hire you every day. And if that freaks you out, it's probably not the best business for you. But if it challenges you and you love that feeling of the hunt, if you will, like it's a great business. In there's no one on the outside, I don't believe, can keep us from hitting our goals. It's we determine where we're going to go. It's what we do. And the more we just dive in and make things happen, like we can get anywhere and do anything we want to do.
What's that quote? We're exactly where we are today from the decisions we made yesterday.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
know,
Mhm.
I should have had that little nugget in the back of my head a long time ago, because that would
Gosh,
answer
it
a lot
was
of questions for me.
26 years ago, right? Like I
Yeah,
should have. Yeah. Yep. No,
yeah,
for real. Yeah.
yeah. It's it's funny. I had I spoke to an individual last week about getting into the business, and we have real estate school and stuff like this. We're having a conversation about whether that was the right move for them. And, and it comes up quite often. And the response was, well, I've got to have a salary. I've got to, I've got to keep my, I can't go unemployed.
Yep.
And, and it's funny you said that we're unemployed all the time. Like that was I looked at them directly in the face and I said, let me go ahead and let you know this piece of information right here. You are unemployed every transaction that you close. You are now gainfully unemployed, excited with a check in your hand, your last check from that employer, for some time anyway. They may
Yep.
hire you back in the future, but it's probably going to be a while.
Yep.
And it does come back to that circle. But also the best thing about that is the other side of the coin is you are limitless on what that ceiling looks like.
That's right.
What that ceiling looks like, and I do think if you notice through the years, it's like you can work with a lot of buyers, or you work with a lot of sellers, and in the back of your mind is scale, nail it and scale it, nail it and scale it. And that's where, the mega listing agent comes to play, then the team leader, then the mega team, then the brokerage mindset, and then, I'm going to take over the world. And at the end of the day, nobody ever takes over the world. And there's always tons and tons of opportunity out there. I know you said you had a desire to be in the business since a young age. So where did that thought process come from?
I think it came from watching my uncle, who I said was, he was a very successful real estate agent where I lived, and just seeing, how, how we were pretty close as a family. I saw him a lot, and right, I would just see the lifestyle he had. He was doing well. He wasn't wealthy, but he was doing well for himself in the area that we lived in at the time. And I just think that I saw what he was doing, how he was helping people, and I don't know, for whatever reason it connected with me. And I think from a pretty early age, as I think back on it, I don't know that I didn't have this awareness back then, but I do now looking back at it. I was always um, going to be best suited to work for myself, right? Like I, I, I spent 18 years working for other people, bosses and all, right? So, by the way, I had some bosses. I had a couple that were amazing, right? I learned so much from, and I had some that, made me question everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just, I'm not suited for that. I don't necessarily want to be the boss. I don't think of myself that way, even in leading my team. But
Yeah, I think I went through about
Easy. You may be an employee looking for a job one of these
50.
days.
Yeah, I might be. 50
we
or
might all
60
be like, we don't
50
know.
or
Hell,
60
we might all.
W2s.
I'm not,
50 or
I'm
60
not,
W2s before I figured out I
horrible.
couldn't work for anybody else. Like, all right, this ain't working.
I was about to make that statement, and I saw you take and run with it. So I said, I'm gonna back up just in case I do. Someone does see this one day, and I need a job. They go like, remember the time you had all those jobs? You said you weren't designed, you weren't built to be an employee. Yeah, I was. Just forget that ever took place. I need
Yeah.
a job.
I went through that
No, it
50
is.
or 60 in like a 10-year period, but yeah, very condensed 10
Yeah,
years. I think my highest year was like 24 W2s, but hey, I mean,
who's
I
counting?
was pulling 3 jobs at a time. So, I mean, the math balance is a little better then.
Yeah, that's not that bad. Not that bad.
It's
Well,
for me, the entrepreneurial part of it, being in business for myself, is something like I think it was always there. I just may not have had the awareness around it early on, Shane, to answer your question.
Yeah.
yeah, I
So
think a
now,
lot of it has to be the challenge. It's like, it's just this business is unique because if you stay hungry for a challenge, this is all jokes aside. I mean, we know this will be a challenging business every day, but that's the wins outweigh the losses. It's that 80-20 rule, um, and it goes all the way back to your early days in the business. We've all got them. We have note cards, we have Christmas cards, we have sticky notes, we have photographs, we have just hugs just from the single parent that you took out of a rental apartment and put them into a home, that they were able to create equity and appreciation in that property and some type of investment to call their own. We've seen it with the families that we expand from a newlywed family a couple of years ago to now welcoming twins. We've seen the other side of that coin when there's a loved one loss and there's an income reduction in the household, and we have to shift and move to plan B and find something that's alternative and still more affordable for them. So you see it and you feel those connections all along the way. So you nailed it when it's about helping others. It's kind of like what's the Zig Ziglar quote? Help enough other people get what they want out of life, and everything you want out of life will be taken care of. Eric, I got on my notes here to ask you. So we've all got successes and failures in business, but let's take a dive into what you would call your greatest success, your biggest success in business thus far. What would you credit that to? What would it be?
That's a great question, and I think a lot of people in real estate might answer it by some award they won or the number of trophies they collected. Like I used to have a bunch of them. I threw them away a long time ago. There's one trophy. You can see it back there, right? And that one's kind of special because of a different reason. But I don't collect that stuff. I'm in it for, I genuinely say I'm in it. I genuinely mean it when I say I'm in it for the personal pursuit of being just the next step better, the next best version of myself. But when I think about it in terms of purely to answer your question, one of the things that comes to my mind right away is I was on a podcast about a week or so ago, and the guy was asking me about the market today and how it compared to the financial crash of 2008, 9, and 10. If I saw any similarities, and it was talking about it from the aspect of how it affected real estate agents, right? We know this isn't that and that wasn't this, but it was the last 18 months or so kind of been a shit show in real estate, right?
Oh yeah.
I think we can safely say that.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on here. I should ask you.
No, absolutely. Be real.
So it was a shit show. But when I look back, he said, what was it like for you in 2008, 9, and 10? Because I clearly I was been in business since 98. And I said, well, the lead into those few years, it was super hot. That was similar, right? Like to what we're kind of up against now. And then all of a sudden, the financial crisis happened, but it wasn't real estate caused. It was more banking and mortgage caused, which blew up the real estate market. But for me as a real estate agent, it still goes back to my belief on this, but I just rolled my sleeves up. I said, I just rolled my sleeves up and got my ass back to work. I mean, in a hardcore way. It's not that I wasn't working, but it took more. And I started doing short sales. The brokerage I was with at the time told me not to.
Yeah.
By the way, thank God I didn't take that advice, because doing short sales basically saved my business for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And by the way, that
BPOs.
Yeah.
That BPOs and drive-bys for $25 to $40 a piece. And how many could I?
Never done one of those.
No,
never done one of those.
Man, I tell you what,
a lot of short sales.
Yeah,
literally they saved my business. But when I think about, you said, what's my greatest success or one of my bigger successes? The thing that comes to my mind is those people in particular that I helped who are in trouble financially, right? They owned homes they're upside down in, had to sell them. Maybe they had lost their job. The whole economy was a mess back then. And like there would be people at closings. I can remember very specific people who at the end of the closing would give me a hug and they'd be crying, thanking me for getting them out of the bind they were in. And so, I've helped in 26 years, I've helped a ton of people, but that probably was the most rewarding time in terms of helping those people when like you knew you genuinely got them out of some shit they didn't have a handle on their own.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of great stories about, I sold this, or, remember when we sold the 1.495 million? I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in this business. But when it comes down to, if you think about, for me, if I think about what are some of the biggest victories, it was that helping those people.
Money comes and money goes, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, it was a dual win. You know, from
Yeah,
the
sure.
right, it helped you survive that transitional market, helped you survive that market crash, the resetting of it, right? And it also along the way, right? How did you get there? How did you survive that? How did you succeed in that? Right back to what we were originally talking about several times throughout this podcast, helping others.
Yep.
Sincerely helping others. Like you could, yeah, and a lot of work, right? Because
yeah.
I mean, there's so many agents nowadays. Like I could stand up in front of 60 of my agents tomorrow and you know and ask how many have done a short sale, and I might have one or two hands,
Yep.
maybe, right? And I don't think you understand. You know, I don't think anyone understands the amount of work that goes into a true short sale.
They call it a short sale because it's not short.
Short sale is such an oxymoron because it should have been called the sale that you're going to do all the work on that you may never get paid on. And even right before you get paid, they're going to reduce your commission and you're going to get paid less than you thought.
Yep.
And oh, by the way,
ended up
6 to 8 months later.
When you say that is it always ended up the second buyer ended up getting the house. You do all the work for the first buyer, and then before it got approved, because they would take forever, that buyer would bug out. They go, oh, never mind. I'm not waiting to go buy another house. And then the approval sometimes would come in before you even had the second buyer. Like the second buyer almost always got the house.
I would agree. We had the same philosophy. We just needed a guinea pig. Like, I don't care. Like, yep, the house is listed at $500,000. Offer me $20,000. I don't care. Yep. I need something to be able to start processing paperwork legitimately.
Yep.
I hope you get it for $20,000. I really do. But if you don't, at least I got the paperwork moving, and maybe I could figure out what this process is going to be, who I need to talk to, and what the price is that they're going to take.
Yep.
I just need a damn guinea pig. Please pull the trigger. Yep. Right. And
so if you look, then if you fast forward to today, like in our market, you know, our team covers West Central and Southwest Ohio, about a third of the state of Ohio. And in that market, it's pretty large geographically. Like there aren't short sales. I don't say, like I could go in MLS and there's probably one in there or something, but like there literally just aren't any because everyone has equity. You would not do a short sale when you have equity. And so that part's it's nothing like that. But the market for sure turned, right? We know it turned on us. It turned fast. And quite dramatically, some more than others. But the thing that's still similar is I said back then I rolled up my sleeves and got my ass back to work. Not that it wasn't. But
Dwayne, do you remember like the BPO? I was like, if you do the BPO, then we might use you for the listing.
Might.
Yeah. Right. Good luck. Probably not, but we'll tease you with that. But today, what do you have to do? It's similar. It is similar in this way, this market to that one way back then is get your ass back to work.
That's it.
Conversations. It takes more leads. It takes more follow up. It takes more grinding. It takes more getting up early. But what's the alternative?
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to do? Fold up?
No disrespect to Walmart, but I mean, that's not a good option for people. It's get to work.
I remember too. I'm a high D. So they would want a new CMA like every 3 days, and I couldn't understand. I was like, no, this is not for me. I cannot do these BPOs. This is I've already earned my money. I'm not doing anything else. This new CMA. I'm like, I promise you, there hasn't been that many units to sell in the last week that justifies a new CMA every week to 10 days.
For a while there might not have been enough comps changed in 2 months to change.
Yeah, right. Everything was active with no sales. Yeah. Exactly.
I'll tell you what, though. Good old days. I saw this on a T-shirt the other day, and I'm a comfortable quality T-shirt. I have an obsession with that, so I'll probably have more bad-ass T-shirts than that. Yeah. You know what? If it's comfortable at this point in life, I'm justified to have it, and I'm going to have it. So that's what wakes me up in the morning. My bills are paid. knock on wood, knock on wood. I'm going to enjoy some of the finer things in life, even if it is a quality T-shirt. But the T-shirt said, "Peaks lead to valleys, and valleys lead to peaks." And I was like, we use that reference so much in our business, peaks and valleys, and I'm like, that's not, you're never going to avoid the valleys. And you never get to the peak without the valley. So it's like you going through that valley is what developed you to have the capability and ability to climb that mountain to get to that peak, and knowing that there is going to be a valley on the other side of that mountain, you're better prepared for it. And I look at this market, and I mean, I've been in the business 20 years, and so this market did do had a major pivot I guess a lot of that was attributed to the interest rates and what have you, so severely taking a hard turn. But then I look back at even the point, like our market that we serve, 20 years of market sales experience in real estate alone, not to mention other sales experience. Selling season has always been, for ours, it's March, warming up, April, warmer, May, June, July, peak, starts cooling back off in August, right? And then start contracting in for the winter. This year was different. All these years, man, it was totally different. Like, I'm like, all right, where is it at? Right? We're at the starting gate. Everybody's ready to go. The horses are ready to go. They're ready to go. And it never popped, but it popped in August. It's crazy. Typically August is, in our part of the country, in Alabama, is kids going back to school. It's $1,000 a child to get them back in school, get them back up on their feet. Everybody's distracted. Everybody's broke from vacation in July, and then you start seeing the leveling out of the contraction in September. But it's completely just the opposite of the way that these seasons have rolled out this year, in a good way. But what it has made us do every season that we have in this business, and I guess every business, is being uncomfortable makes you look around you to see, do I have to have high-end T-shirts? No, I don't. Do I have to have the next tech gadget in this business? No, I don't. Do the gadgets, the tools, the lead gen, all of those fun little buzzwords that we use in the industry. Not only do we need the next one, does what we have already produce its own ROI, right? And so when you go back and look, it's like every year the grass is green. I think we all get a little heavy, 10%, 5%, 20%, and because of that scale mindset. It's like, I conquered this with that. I need to get to conquer this. I need with that. And we do reference, John Cheplack a lot on these calls, but it takes a guy like that to speak my language. He's a Gen Xer as well, but work works, right? Simple solves the complex. Tiny hinges swing big doors. It doesn't resonate when you first say, "Oh, that's fun. That sounds fun right there." And he's looking everybody in the face, but it's like when you start to let that sink in, it's like, yep, work works. What and we've all, how many times have we heard, what got you here won't get you there? Not so true. What got you here, that blood, sweat, tears, and grit, it will get you there. Matter of fact, it's the only way to get there, right? Yeah. So I've looked back at our business, our model, our expenses, our overhead, and you know what? Just taking a lot of outside influence like that and turning that inward and taking ownership of, like, we can point fingers and do this and blame the market, blame politics, blame all these things. But a lot of times, just like you said, Eric, sometimes you just got to take an internal look and go, wait a minute, am I being the leader that I need to be? Am I being the best leader to my people? Providing them with the quality time, the quality instruction, and most of all, the accountability to do so. Because most agents won't make a decision. They just stand at the crossroads. Maybe it's just me. What do you guys think?
No, I think that's true. That saying of Cheplack's work works is like, that's so overly simplistic, but it's so true. 100% it is. And I remember the first time I heard him say tiny hinges swing big doors. It was a long time ago. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually got exposed to him. The first time I'd ever even heard of the guy was my buddy Kevin Kaufman was coaching with him for a while and talking about him. And so that's, you usually learn about people through other people a lot, right? Like I was
Osmosis.
exposed
Yes.
a lot to, being around you guys, and especially we were around each other a lot. We all were, we probably sounded a lot alike
I was gonna
sometimes.
say the three of us go way. The three of us, we didn't hit on that in the beginning, mostly because the statute of limitations isn't up on most things yet
Well, yeah, right.
that we
Real.
probably have done together. But
Okay.
I mean, the three of us go back a long time
Yeah.
in this industry.
Yeah.
A long time in this industry.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
There was a day when Dwayne had hair. I remember.
Right.
Now, it wasn't a lot, but he was still holding on to some of it.
I got a
He
little
still
bit
holding
of
on
it.
to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. No,
I
didn't
mean to cut you off on that, but I just all of a sudden
No, it's all right. But the
I was having
statute of
flashback
limitations
of a few
probably has
memories
not
that
expired.
we shall not share on this podcast.
Yeah.
Offline only, but yes,
Right,
it's been a
for
long
real.
time.
Good times. But we learned a lot from each other, I
Oh,
think.
we
Have
did.
learned a lot from each other. And, that exposure to, that's a big thing, right? Like when you think about what are the big influences, I don't know if you asked me that or some version of that or something, but it's the people you get around. Like those masterminds that we were going to for the longest time, right? Like those were game changers. I hate when people use that word because everything's a game changer, right? Yeah. But those truly were game changers, not because even, the content or whatever, but it was the people that were there. Think about those groups when that mastermind was flying high. Think about the people that were in those rooms.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, some serious players, serious talent, great people inside and out, inside and out.
Yeah,
It's funny. Go ahead,
that is
Dwayne.
where we all met each other in the past, right? Was putting ourselves in those rooms, right? Getting uncomfortable, right? Putting yourself
Vulnerable.
in rooms with with people that had businesses that just dwarfed yours, right? Or they're on really on another level, right? And some of the ones that are in that were in those rooms in the early days, as we were all building our businesses and building what we do and right and just sharing ideas and right rising shifts and just helping and sharing and growing our business. And even today, right? I mean, Eric and I were on a call just a week ago and sharing ideas and thoughts, and Shane and I are weekly, a couple times a week, if not daily, on some text messages and whatnot. Sometimes he sends me up some snail mail and whatnot to try to connect, but
He's on a droid. No, he has to have snail mail.
Right. Hey, I'm a droid too.
Yeah.
But I think about that.
Exactly.
I think about that though, and I remember the first time I went. Dwayne, you weren't even there. To that very first mastermind was in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
But Dwayne was there. I still remember you talking about getting comfortable or getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, or whatever you said.
Yeah.
I remember going there. I got there that day, and I still remember walking across the lobby of that hotel where the mastermind was, and they were having a little meet and greet in the lobby bar that night before it was getting started. And I remember walking across that lobby going, what the hell am I even doing here? I didn't know anybody there, no one. And I'm like, I remember thinking, I shouldn't be at home working. What am I doing here?
Imposter syndrome, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, like I'm not the biggest people person in the world. I mean, I'm not social in the way that like some of you guys are. Like I'm a little more reserved, introverted, or whatever. I mean, like once I get to know people, I'm totally cool. But
kind of take that as a little offensive myself, but
right. But I remember walking through there going, yeah, it was just meant as you heard it. I'm just kidding. but I was like, what the hell am I doing there? But that was game changing. The people that were in that room that day, and the people that were in the room the next time, and then that went on for, gosh, guys, till COVID hit, right?
yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It's what, but it's it's what they say all the time. It's like if you want to take your business and life to another level, you got to get into a greater room. You got to be in a bigger room. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You're bringing value to others, but I mean, if you want to keep bringing value to them, you have to keep raising your level of the room and the quality of the people that are in that room.
Yeah.
And it's not anything to say about the people in the room that you're in that you need to move on from. You can actually bring those people with you, right? You move up a level and get what you need so that you can come back and take those people to the next level. And so it's one key, everybody keeps helping everybody get to that next level. And I think it's that, I think everybody's been in that position, walking through that lobby going, what am I doing here? Like, I mean, I've done the same thing. I've went for the knowledge and the networking and the growth and development, but I've landed. I've went to the room. I've worked, and then somebody's like blowing your phone. Hey, we're doing this, doing that. I'm like, I need to work. I don't need to, and like, well, just come hang out for an hour that turns into 8 hours. Too much, way too much fun. But those are partnerships, and I refer to them as more than friendships. They're partnerships for life.
Great.
Partnerships for life, and it's you nailed it. Like, that is a great impact on everybody that's experienced that. Let me ask you this. So we've kind of talked about how you got in the business. We've talked about some success in the business and some influences in the business. But everything's not a bed of roses. Everything's not always perfect. Elaborate on one of your greatest failures in business? Because the reason is, like, we want people to take away from this podcast, people that have been where we're at, that are going where we're at, or maybe they're beyond where we're at. Maybe they just want to connect with other folks, because we've all had struggles and strife, and we've all been to peaks and we've all been to valleys, right? Share a failure with us. Take us through that.
I would say, dude, I probably could write a book on those first and foremost. I'm certain I could. We don't have that much time. Is this like a 4-hour podcast?
It's a podcast-a-thon.
Right. This is a extended play movie, or so, I don't know what they call it. But one that comes to mind is when I initially set out to start to build a team. I was a top agent, right? I was never the top agent in Cincinnati, but I was up there pretty far, right? In a pretty large city. I was doing a lot of business. And this was in a time where we didn't have all these lead gen things. Like, sometimes I think now and I go, if I had all this stuff, but I decided I was going to build a team, take Eric out of production and build a team. That was an epic failure the first time. I didn't know. And there weren't a lot of people doing it, I guess, then. So I can maybe make the excuse, well, there weren't a lot of examples to go look at of how you made that transition. But I sure as hell flunked it, man. I mean, I had to go right back in pretty quickly because it was, you don't just throw a bunch of people in a room and go, I got a team. You just
Everybody's got a purpose. Everybody has a specific value.
When I look back at that now, I laugh, right? Like, I just laugh because I go, there's no resemblance to what my team looks like today to what I tried to start building back in the day. It was just literally.
But you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah,
you don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
You got it.
My advice to that person would be, well, get your ass in the rooms where people have already done that.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't figure it out yourself.
Nailed it.
Compress so much time by simply getting yourself in relationship or in some kind of a friendship or partnership, like you said, Shane, with people that have already done what you're trying to do. And
so powerful.
I didn't do that then. I tried to just throw it together. I'm smart. I'll figure this out. I read that red book thing and I'm just going to go for it. Well, okay, except for I don't know how much money that cost me. Whatever. You can always get more money. But the bigger thing is, how much time did it cost? And you can't get that back.
Mm-mm.
You can't get that back.
That's one thing. You can withdraw as much you withdraw, but you cannot put anything back.
Yeah.
Can't
And
put
so
anything
my
back.
biggest failure there, I think, would have been that I literally just kind of winged it and jumped into it instead of really knowing. I should have had a coach for that,
Yep.
or I should have been, communicating. I didn't know you guys at the time, but with Shane and Dwayne, who've already done that, or like I should have found those people and said, "Tell me what I don't know and what I need to know," and I didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, and that's something I'm always passionate about, is helping agents scale their business. As new agent, as an agent, that's up and doing some good transactions, and because as agents, most of the time you're in the business, you're hustling, you're grinding, you're going to make it. You're doing a lot of transactions. You're burning the candle at both ends. Now you're beginning to burn relationships with friends, family members, and then it gets even worse inside your household. And now all of a sudden you lose track and lose sight of all the many reasons that you got in the business and had limitless opportunity to grow your wealth and income to begin with. And so that's where we try to help agents, do that, is because most of the time it happens because systems and processes and processes. It's not there's not sexy words when you get into business. Like you put some money back if you're smart. If you make it in this game, you had some money put back. You had a business plan. You had some goals. You had some vision, and you had some fight in you, right? But you technically don't have system processes because you're just coming into the business,
Yep.
right? So you go out there, you grind out, and you get traction, you get some business, and I hear this all the time because I talk to them like, let me help you put some systems and processes in place. And if they're a new agent, it's in, you see where they're headed. And as a new agent, they're like, well, as soon as I get up on my feet good and and get some good get a pipeline of business, then I'll need it. I don't need it right now. I'm like, oh, you have no idea. Right? You need it more than now than ever. And it's the other side of the coin, is the mega agent / parentheses about to burn out agent. They're so top heavy with forward momentum with no processes and systems in place. I mean, you see it. They go through divorces. The kids grew up. They don't. I mean, they just they lose all that time, like you said. And their response to that question is, as soon as I get a break, as soon as I get time, I will gladly let you help me put in some systems and processes. And I'm like, you don't have time to do that. You are so overdue for that you are about to crash and burn.
Real estate's weird in that way. People don't look at, and let's be super clear. This is today, Eric saying this. In 1998, I didn't think this way either. But you get in real estate and you're essentially a startup business. Mm-hmm. Like you just are. If you're really going to approach it, if you're on the plan of, oh, I'm getting in this to sell my uncle a house and my cousin out, like you don't need any of this. You shouldn't be watching this podcast if you're just waiting on your uncle to sell his house, right? Like they don't need this. But for the people who want long-term success and growth and making money and helping people, you got to approach it like you're starting a business. Like if you were going to start a sub shop, you probably wouldn't just start Shane's sub shop. You'd go buy a franchise that already has a whole map laid out for you. You'd be a Jimmy John's or a Subway, or like you'd have those systems and processes. You'd have a business. People get into real estate though and just go, hey, I'm going to wing it and see if I make it. It's just a weird way to start. Yeah. And like I said, I mean, I had a good business background before I got in real estate. So I didn't completely come unprepared with that kind of mindset, but I still don't know that it was as good as it could have been that way. That mindset of going, hey, look, I'm going to take a real systematic approach to this thing and build something bigger. You're never going to get to bigger. Never going to get.
Yeah, it's what's it, Dwayne? I give this credit to you. Well, no, I mean, I think Eric, you sent it to Dwayne, and then of course I saw in his world and snatched it up too. It was on my list, but it hadn't made it to my desk yet. But I went and moved it to my desk, and that's the buy back your time with Dan Martell.
Yeah.
And it's that same thought process. It's like we think that like I'm a grinder, I'm a hustler. Like I can do it all myself. If they can't do it, I can do it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for a short period of time, a grizzly bear can move 35 miles an hour for a short period of time. Thank God, no, not very far, because we've been out there close. That's too
Yeah,
close.
you guys have to worry about that stuff. I don't know about that.
That's just in
But
our world.
but by the way, that's a great point, Shane. And I think that can be, and I've always thought that was a big attribute I had, a good characteristic. I can outwork anybody. I'm certain of it. Like I don't have the give up gene. I don't have it anywhere in me. Like it's just I'm going to keep going and going and going and going no matter what. There is just no, like there's nothing. If they issued an edict that you couldn't be paid as a real estate agent to sell homes anymore, is illegal, I just keep going to find a different way. Like I mean that's extreme, but I mean like I just don't have that give up gene, if you will, and that's admirable to a point. But it can also be the thing that actually puts you in the ditch too, if you aren't willing to realize that at some point it's not just about you busting it. I already said, like, you got to roll your sleeves up sometimes and just get in the trenches again.
Yeah.
But long term, you won't. I don't believe anyway that grinder mentality won't get you where you want to go. You got to
Right.
bring other people, other leverage, other systems. It's not a one man. No one succeeds alone. I don't know who
Nope.
said that. I've heard it 100 times, and it's so true. No
Well,
one
what's
succeeds alone.
it say? You want to go far? Go together, go fast, go alone. It's and really like, and I know we got to wrap up for the sake of time, but when you think about this, without systems and processes in your business, is a solo agent team, mega team, brokerage, franchise, independent, without systems and processes, you're really cheating your family.
Yep. No, that's
You
100% right.
you are
Yep.
cheating your family, the people that you care about, that you have relationships with, that mean something to you. You're cheating them out of time
Yep.
with
For sure.
you at the
See,
end of the day.
people think that it's just about them. I'll cheat myself. Like I will. Like I've done it. I could tell you stories about it. We all have. Where you just go, no, I'm just going to go full bore, full blazes. It doesn't matter. It's just my time. And it's actually the time that if you weren't doing the thing, if I wasn't showing buyers Friday night at 8 o'clock, I'd have been where? With my family. That's a really good point you make, Shane. And you gotta realize it's not all about you, and time's not free, and you're never getting it back. And that comes from an old dude who, I've been doing this a while.
And even from the income standpoint, time is way more valuable than money. But even at that, if you get incapacitated for 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, what does that look like for the household income? Now, maybe you got deals coming down the pipeline and stuff, but you as the creator of that momentum are now out of momentum for 10, 20, 30 days or even longer, hopefully not permanently. But what does that do to the household income in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days down the road? What's the fallback? What's the plan B?
Building a systematic, building a business built on systems and processes, and I think some of the lead generation stuff, I think of them as like machines that we have turned on, right? Like you have to have that stuff if you're going to keep consistency. It don't have to be like 6-figure things running. Like you don't have to spend that kind of crazy money. Depends on what you're trying to accomplish, but you got to have some kind of systems, processes, automation, machine, whatever words you want to use, funnels, like whatever you want to call them, right? You got to have some of that for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, what if anybody wanted to connect with you, send business your way, refer business, or reach out to you in any way? What's the best platforms and ways to get in touch with you?
The easiest platform probably is Facebook. I'm super easy to find there. I got one of those profiles that's open to the world. It's not private where you can't see my pictures and my posts until you get to be my friend. Like I'm an open book, man. So it's all there for the bots and everybody. It's all there. So I'm just facebook.com/Eric Lowry 0, the number 0 at the end. Email's good too. Eric@LowryTeam.com. It's
Okay.
Lowry, no E. It's LOWRY team.com. Either of those are best, probably. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome, man. Awesome. Any closing remarks there, Dwayne?
I tell you what, I every time I'm together with you, whether it's in person, which unfortunately hasn't been quite as frequent
Right.
over the past few years as it was in the past, and whether it's a call, a text, jumping on Zoom, you're always a wealth of knowledge. You're a breath of air, and it's always good catching back up to you with you, and to be able to now get you on a podcast and share you a little bit with the rest of the world is a great thing as well. So it's always a pleasure. We appreciate your knowledge, your insight, the stories, even some of those stories we can't share.
Suppress those.
Yeah, fight the urge, Dwayne. Fight the urge. Don't do it. But
go with the good guy on the good shoulder.
But yes, it is always a pleasure, and maybe next time we'll get you to bring that beautiful wife of yours. We all know that behind the scenes she makes everything go round.
All the brains. All
the brains, Lisa, right? So we know that as well, and maybe on the next go round we can have her join us and talk to both of you.
It's always, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate that. You're too nice, but it's always good to see you guys.
Likewise.
Right, we have to figure out a way soon to do like in real life. How they, that's a new word, right? They go, oh, it's in real life now. We need to find a way to do it in real life at some kind of an event or something. We have to.
Hey, I tell you what, we've got flights to Tahoe end of this week. So I mean, you just got to get a flight to Tahoe quick, and
at the end of the week, yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
Hey, there's no such thing as can't.
No, I didn't say the word can't. I didn't say that word. I said it's probably not going to happen. But we do, like, seriously, though, we got to figure out a way to do that soon. That would be,
yes,
that would be off the charts, right?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eric Lowry. We are so glad to have borrowed some time out of his busy schedule. Again, you guys can find him on Facebook. We'll post up his contact information as well with this podcast. In the meantime, please like and share this podcast, and we will see you real soon with a new episode. Take care, guys. Thanks so much for watching and listening and downloading. See ya.
Thanks Eric. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the R.E.A.L. podcast. Don't forget to connect with us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for more exclusive content. Keep striving for success, and we'll see you in the next episode.